right, here's one I am super excited to bring to you now that I'm back from vacation, and it is ToyWorld's Muddy, their version of Sludge from their combiner, or their Dinobot line that will also end up being a combiner. And we've seen pics of it, but yeah, he's cool. He's got a much more silver chrome than gold. He does have some of the gold chrome on him, but he's got the silver tail and the upper torso up here, as well as some of the same gold chrome that was on Roar. Now the silver chrome is it's on a Dinobot, and I guess, like I said, for some reason I'm more forgiving of chrome on Dinobots. I'm not going into my whole spiel. You've probably seen it recently, but if you watch my videos, you know how I feel about chrome in general. I don't mind them so much on the Dinobots. I guess it's just because, I don't know, that's just what I think of as when I get a Dinobot. I don't know. For whatever reason, opinions can change, I guess, but I'm still not a huge fan of it. But he's got a little poseability in his tail back here. I'll unplug it. But the little tip can move a little bit. It doesn't move side to side back here. He does have the red, blue, and green stripes. His head is posable here on his neck. The neck itself is not posable. It's a solid neck. He does have an opening and closing jaw. He gets some posability here in his legs. Now he can store his gun. He does come with a sword, or with a sword and gun. And like Roar, where he had the gun up on here on his back, you can have this pointing forward if you want to have like an armed dino, but he can kind of store it facing backwards, so it's not as obvious on him as bring Roar down here. You know, Roar had his storage plug was up here, where he is a dino with a gun, whereas with Muddy you can hide it a little bit. Yeah, so there's the two of them together. Now they both form the legs of the combiner, it looks like. So they're similar in size and shape. He does end up with his head being a little taller, but you know, not to actual dinosaur scale. But they look nice together. They really do look really nice as companion pieces. I'm happy with that. So we'll put him off to the side. But yeah, and like I said, there's some posability in his legs. He's got nice clicky joints on the knees, not so much here on the front. But the joints are nice and tight. They just don't click here on the front, which is totally okay. A little bit of posability here in the paws, the feet, I guess, on both front and back limbs. So yeah, there he is as a dinosaur. And to transform him from dino mode, it's very simple. First off, his sword is stored up here in his neck. You just want to pull that out and pull the gun off. And he's got some really neat transformation tricks in this whole affair. So go ahead and take this, turn his head around, fold it up against his neck like that. Go ahead and fold the neck down a little bit. You want to come back here, unpeg the tail like this, and split it. Get the whole thing apart. And we'll get to that in the next part, but go ahead and unpeg that. And back here, grab his, take his legs and open up. And this reveals a gap here in his leg, and it's kind of neat how they deal with that too. So open these up. We have to get these legs up out of the way. You want to get them up as far horizontal as possible so you can get these legs out. And then you just split this whole assembly and bring his legs down. Oh, actually, you got to open up these panels first here. Open up the panels on the bottom. There we go. Then bring his legs down and around. You see, you gotta make sure there's enough clearance here for these. Bring them down. And then here, this piece folds, the tail piece, which you can see is now on a ball joint, folds in to here. I guess you could also, if you wanted to, you could turn it all the way around. Oh, there you go. Fold it all around, hold it in like that. And then this piece folds. There's a tab here that you fold in. Is going to tab right up here, just like that. And then you fold this down, fold it in, and there's a tab right here on top that plugs in right up here. So fold that in, tab it in there, and then you've got his leg. And then this piece flips down to form or can come up like this. I'm not sure why it swivels. Oh, that's his ankle tilt. But you fold this piece down, and then this toe piece flips up. So the toe pieces actually fold in so they don't stick out so much in dinosaur mode. That's really cool. So instead of having this giant piece just sticking up on his back, it folds in, and then the silver chrome piece kind of covers it up. So there's just a little bit of gold peeking out. I thought that was really cool. And he's got some forward and back ankle tilt as well as side to side ankle tilt here. And then that gap where the leg was, this piece folds out and around, and there's a peg here that just plugs in right there to fill in that gap. The way the legs transform is awesome, because now these are all up. These bigger pieces come up and form his arms. while filling in all the gaps here on the leg. There. Rotate this, fold it down. So fold all that under, tab it in, bring this down, tab it in, and there are his legs done. Come up here to the top part of him. You turn his legs around at the waist, and then bring these down a little bit again, and pull these apart, open them up like that. Now it's easier to do this now, and this is one place where I would caution being careful, just because the way these legs hide is right up here. There's a peg, and you can see the hinge down here. You grab these like this, kind of pull the leg out a little bit right there, and pull them apart right here at this hinge. Come here, right there. You see that peg tabs in here, and then this leg folds in and down and around here. You can, if you want, you can fold this paw down a little bit to make it fit a little better. So you fold that paw down, kind of angle it in into the wing there, and then close that back up. And the same on this side. Again, this being chromed plastic, you want to be careful. Try to grab it up here and back here, and make sure you're holding it so the pressure is pulling these two apart and not putting any stress on the hinge, on either of these two hinges. So bring this down and around, fold it, pull it down, flip it back in, hoof, foot, and tab that back together. His dinosaur neck obviously just folds down onto his back, a la G1 Sludge. There is a space here for a Autobot symbol, and you open this panel up right here, flip his head up, and push this back. And just like on Roar, where you could pull that panel off and stick a thing on, you can stick an Autobot logo there if you want, and then this panel comes up to cover it. So it's very easy. It's much easier to access that than it was on Roar, although it wasn't too super hard on Roar, but it's part of the transformation, which is cool. And then these gray panels slide up. You rotate these up, and then this will peg in up here, and then this post will slide in. So you line that up so that pegs in, and then just kind of push here right at this hinge, and that will collapse the whole thing together up to his torso. So despite being very similar in some shapes and all that, there's not a lot of similar transformation between him and Roar, which is cool. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. There he is standing. And then bring the arms down. The arms also have that same hinge thing, so if you don't want him sitting up high like that, you can bring him down to be more in line with his shoulders. That little dual hinge up in there. Bring his arms forward, fold his little wings forward. Now this is the one flaw I found on him, and it's not a super flaw. It's easy to fix or easy to deal with, but he doesn't have quite the clearance here. There's no little tab here to get any traction on when getting his hands out. You can kind of get it, like that one came out way easier than it has been. But you have to have these, you have to make sure the fingers are all the way closed and have it at just the right angle to make sure that comes out. That was the least hassle I have had in probably 16 transformations trying to get those hands out. But yeah, see, like this one's getting caught a little bit. And this one's just a little stiffer overall. So you can kind of get it out, but there's no way to do it. But I have found that if you just take the melee weapon and kind of get it in his hand, you can flip it out like that. Like I said, it all depends on how tight your wrist joints are, but it can be a problem. So you can give him his gun, you can hold in either hand. You can hold it like this as well. And then his sword actually is folded in half. And it is, in comparison, much like Roar's was, it's a little smallish on the side, especially when you consider like this much is the handle. But for everything else it does, I'm willing to forgive it. And there's Muddy. He's really nice looking. I love his head sculpt. He's got some light piping in it. Good poseability. Like I said, the shoulders can come out on that joint a little bit for more range of motion here. He has does he have a swivel here? Yeah, he's got a swivel here. He's got the nice clicky ratchets there. And then like these actually click here. they're not making noises, but there are some dentations in the shoulder to lock them in place so we can support all the different poses. Even in the hips, they're not. You can hear it squeaking a little bit, which is that's not a cause for concern. I don't feel like it's too tight squeaking. It's just the plastic, but there are some indentations there, even though it's not making noises. Nice clicky knees. You've got the side to side and the front to back here on the toe part, so you can get some nice, decent, stable poses out of them there. Click side to side on the waist. It does have a waist swivel. No wrist swivel on this one as well, but that matches with previous figures. I guess Roar, so not the end of the world. But yeah, really nice looking sludge here. Let's give a little turn around here. And like I said, I really love the way they handled this leg transformation with how everything comes together. Roar was very simple, but based off his G1 self, so, you know, not the end of the world, but much more intricate than Roar was, and it's really kind of cool. And speaking of Roar, here he is with Muddy. And Roar looks a little bigger with those tail pieces on his back, but Muddy is slightly taller at the top of the head. And I know some people want Sludge to be the massive brute. I don't necessarily disagree with them, but these guys look really nice together, and I'm really happy with that. Like I said, my one real issue is just getting those fists out, because that can be a real pain sometimes unless you use the weapon thing. So yeah, that's all there is to it. And excuse me. Oh, and also, you know, just like I said, just be careful with the chrome when you're pulling these wings apart. But he's a good, solid figure, and I can't wait for other people to start getting him. I'm looking forward to seeing with their next release just how the whole thing is going to come together. But there is Muddy from ToyWorld.